Him and Donald Trump are competing.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll come to Mr.
Who's
Trump
the biggest idiot?
We'll come to the president.
He's an absolute buffoon. He has no place in the White House. He's an embarrassment, and he should be...
Angela Rayner just went off on Donald Trump live on TV, calling him a buffoon and acting like she's got all the answers. She even claimed she's not sure who's worse, Trump or Boris Johnson. Bold words, right? But let's be real for a second. This is the same woman who's been caught stumbling over the most basic facts about her own policies. If she can't even keep her numbers straight, why should anyone take her political attacks seriously?
Doing your job. If you don't like it, clear off.
Angela Rayner talks a big game, but when it comes to actually explaining numbers, logistics, or how Labor's plans will work, she crumbles. Over and over again, she's been caught stumbling through interviews, struggling to back up her own claims. Just recently, she was confronted on air for getting her own statistics wrong. Instead of owning up to it, she brushed it aside, hoping no one would notice. But people did. And it's not the first time. Take her big housing promise. 1.5 million new homes. Sounds great, right? Until it was revealed that a massive chunk would go to illegal immigrants. When pressed on it, she looked shocked, like she was hearing it for the first time. How do you not know the details of your own policy? And now, she's taking shots at Trump. Like him or not, Trump actually delivered on major promises, lowering taxes, boosting jobs, even striking peace deals. Meanwhile, Rayner can't get through a single interview without fumbling the basics. Maybe she should focus on getting her own facts straight before throwing insults at a man who, love him or hate him, has a track record of making things happen.
Would you reverse the cuts on corporation tax?
I think that the cuts on corporation tax are missing a point because we need that money. We need that money at the moment.
Would you reverse it? Hold on.
Inheritance tax.
Would you reverse them?
I think that at the moment, cutting at a time where we need those services and people need those services is the wrong decision to
But
take.
I'm asking you, would you reverse the cut in corporation tax?
But I'm telling you, Andrew, that our priority is
You're not telling me the question.
I am. I'm
answer.
saying that the cuts in corporation tax, the cuts in inheritance tax, the cuts in capital gains tax.
What's the cut in capital gains tax?
But what's really important, Andrew...
No, excuse me, I'm asking you a question. What's the cut in the capital gains tax?
They've cut the capital gains tax. They did that. They did that as part of the coalition government.
No, they raised the capital gains tax in the coalition government.
Well, what I'm saying, Andrew,
what you're saying.
But here's where it gets even more interesting. Trump is playing mind games. Instead of firing back at Rayner, he actually praised Keir Starmer, saying he's done well so far for the UK. Was it sarcasm? A strategy to stir things up? Either way, it's got Labour looking awkward, especially with Rayner running around throwing punches she might not be able to back up. Angela Rayner acts like she's got everything figured out, but when it comes to real policies, the details just don't add up. Take her big promise, 1.5 million new homes. Sounds ambitious, right? But there's a catch. A huge chunk of those houses would go to illegal immigrants. And the real shock? She didn't even seem to know that until she was called out on it. How do you push a policy without understanding who benefits from it? That's the problem. She throws out numbers, makes bold claims, but when pressed for details, she stumbles. And this isn't a one-time slip-up, it's a pattern. She gets caught, backtracks, and hopes no one notices. But people are noticing.
Stewart has gave voice to many people's frustration at the moment, including Conservative voters, because what the Conservatives have shown themselves to do, especially over the last couple of years, is not what they would consider to be Conservative. You know, we've had low growth, high taxes.
Let's talk reality. The UK is already struggling with a housing crisis. There aren't enough affordable homes for citizens as it is. Yet Labour is pushing a plan that prioritizes people who aren't even supposed to be in the country. It's not just bad politics, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Meanwhile, she's busy throwing insults at Trump instead of fixing the mess in her own backyard. Trump, for all the criticism he gets, actually put Americans first. His immigration policies tightened border control, and his administration cracked down on illegal crossings. Compare that to Labour, which seems more interested in housing non-citizens than helping struggling Brits. Rayner's lack of awareness isn't just embarrassing. It raises serious concerns about Labour's leadership if she can't keep track of her own policies, what else is slipping through the cracks, and With Keir Starmer at the helm, the UK's problems are only piling up. Crime is rising, the economy is shaky, and now there's a housing plan that makes no sense. This isn't just about Rayner looking clueless on TV, it's about leadership, or the lack of it. And if this is Labour's vision for the future, it's no wonder people are starting to question if they're up to the job. Angela Rayner's housing plan isn't the only thing falling apart time and time again. She's been caught off guard in interviews, struggling to explain how Labour will actually fix the UK's problems. She talks big, but when it's time to break down the details, the answers just aren't there.
Mr. Speaker, he acts like it pretends that it's complicated, but it's simple. They set up the inquiry to get to the truth, then block that inquiry from getting the information that...
This isn't just bad for Rayner, it's bad for Labour. The party promised change, but under Keir Starmer, the UK is sliding deeper into crisis. Inflation is squeezing households, crime is rising, and the NHS is on the brink. Yet every time Rayner is asked what Labour will do differently, she either dodges the question or stumbles through a vague response. The worst part? Interviewers can see it coming. Time and again, they challenge her on key policies and she can't defend them. It's like they know she doesn't have a real plan, and they might be right. So far, Labour's leadership has been more about making promises than actually delivering anything. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, Donald Trump is making headlines again, but not for attacking Labour. Instead, he's oddly complimentary toward Keir Starmer, even going as far as saying Starmer has done well so far. Was he being serious? Or is this a calculated move to stir the pot in the UK? Whatever the reason, it's left Labour in an awkward spot. Rayner may think taking shots at Trump makes her look tough, but the reality is much harsher. If she can't handle a tough interview, how is she supposed to handle running a country? Angela Rayner is quick to attack Trump, but let's take a moment to compare records. Trump, whether loved or hated, actually got things done. Under his leadership, the US saw record job growth, taxes were cut, and illegal immigration was tackled head-on. His administration brokered peace deals, reshaped trade agreements, and made sure American interests came first. Now look at Rayner. She spent months in a government that's failing to control immigration, struggling to fix the economy, and watching public services decline. She can mock Trump all she wants, but the truth is, he delivered results. Something Labour is still scrambling to figure out. The contrast is impossible to ignore. Trump made America stronger on the global stage, while Labour, under Starmer and Rayner, has left the UK weaker. The economy is shaky, crime is on the rise, and public trust in politicians is at an all-time low. Yet, instead of focusing on fixing these pressing issues, Rayner spends her time throwing insults at someone who isn't even in UK politics. Here's the real twist. Trump has barely responded. Instead of engaging, he's playing mind games, complimenting Starmer and making Labour look even more unsure of itself. It's a classic Trump move. He lets his opponents destroy themselves. Rayner thought she'd make headlines by attacking Trump, but instead, she's exposed just how unprepared she really is. If Labour can't deliver results, no amount of insults will change that. Angela Rayner might think she's scoring points by going after Trump, but this could backfire in a big way. Trump isn't just any politician. He's a global figure with massive influence. If he decides to hit back, it won't be a quiet response. His words shape headlines, sway opinions, and dominate news cycles. Rayner may have picked a fight she's not equipped to win. Then, there's the issue of public perception. Rayner's credibility is already shaky after multiple interview blunders and policy slip-ups. Calling Trump a buffoon might get applause from some, but it only highlights her own weaknesses. If she can't defend her own policies, why should anyone believe she can tear down others? Every misstep from here on out will only deepen the doubt surrounding her leadership. Even within Labour, this could cause serious problems. Starmer's team is trying to present a serious, stable image ahead of the next election, but Rayner's loud, unfiltered approach doesn't always fit into that strategy. If she keeps making headlines for the wrong reasons, she could find herself isolated, even within her own party. At the end of the day, this was a gamble. Maybe she thought it would make her look tough, or perhaps she believed it would distract from Labour's struggles. But politics isn't just about throwing punches. It's about proving you can lead. And right now, Rayner has a lot more to prove than Trump ever will. With her heated rhetoric and surprising praise of Starmer, questions are piling up as Starmer navigates mounting criticism. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to Global Update for more. You can watch more of our videos right here.